Lion Country Safari. We're excited to have everybody here today. So I want to go ahead and introduce two of our wonderful ambassadors here at the park. Chelsea, do you want to introduce yourself for me?
Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea and I'm our program specialist here. We are both really impressed with what you guys came up with this year with those enrichments. Talk about creativity, right?
Yeah, we were really impressed, you guys. I'm Dr. Tina. I am the Conservation Research and Chimpanzee Curator here at Lion Country Safari. And like Chelsea said, we were so impressed with the really creative, really enriching things that you guys came up with this year.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all so much. We're so excited to have you all here with us today. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually introduce our first clip because we would love to see you all and what you guys got to see with all of our chimps interacting with your enrichments. So let's go ahead and let's play the very first clip that we have.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us for this year's Christmas with the Chimps. We really appreciate all of the really creative enrichments that you guys came up with. We were so impressed seeing all of these different options for our chimpanzees, and they absolutely loved it. And as you can see, Santa was here to help us put all of your presents out on the Chimp Island and have our chimpanzees really enjoy all of your hard work. We did make a couple extra things on our own, like that little snowman. That was a barrel that the chimps are very used to getting, but we modified it to look like a snowman and see if they played with it. In the background there, you can see this is our first group experiencing Christmas with the Chimps this year. That's Bamboo in the beginning. He's running over here. He's going to be followed by his mom, Tonic, and then you'll see Figment, his second in command or beta chimpanzee male, come up with Tonic. And the three of them, basically at the beginning, they just sort of spend some time showing the next group over that you guys will see in a little bit that this is their island and they better not come over here. They're very territorial. That's what they just did off camera, and now they're done and they're going to come back and they're going to enjoy all of their treats. That's Figment on the left. Bamboo's the big guy there in the middle, and his mom Tonic has her back to us. You can see Bamboo is the alpha, so he kind of has first pick of anything that he wants. Figment's strategy is a little bit different. He seems to just sort of plant himself in front of all of the bags and just go from bag to bag. Whereas Orbit, in the background there, you just saw her climbing up one of those structures. We call her our shopper. She likes to take things and she fills her hands up and then she goes on top of the shelter. She really likes being up high. A lot of chimpanzees do. Because if they were in the wild still, they'd be, up in those trees a lot of the time. So Orbit really likes being up top like that. And you can see she brought up a big box and one of your really great, really cool enrichments that you guys provided. The thing I love about this too is you can see Orbit's belly moving a little bit in that clip. And that, you can't hear it, but I can see it. And that means that she was making food grunts or excited food noises. So she was really happy to be up there eating all of the treats that we put in those enrichments and interacting with the enrichment that you guys worked really hard on making. That's Swing in the background. You can see that Bamboo and Tonic took the head off the snowman pretty quickly, which we expected. And Swing's just going to kind of check it out, see if there's anything fun in there for her. She's got a banana leaf next to her. Swing is our oldest resident right now. Swing is estimated to be 52 years old, so you'll see she moves a little slower. Here we have Tonic on the left and Dandy on the right. Dandy is Swing's daughter. Our nickname for Dandy is Demandy because she really likes to make her wants and needs known.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So we hope that you enjoyed our very first clip there with our Christmas with the Chimps. I wanted to go ahead and just ask Dr. Tina here. So I know on the bottom of that video, it talks a little bit about the sanitizing process. How did we do that?
We wanted to be extra careful that we were really protecting our chimpanzees because that is our top priority. So we did a number of sanitizing regimens. First, we made sure that there was a 2-week quarantine period, which was probably enough to make sure that we didn't have to worry about COVID impacting our chimpanzees. But then we actually ran a ozone machine in our closed van for the appropriate amount of time, and that's supposed to kill viruses and bacteria and germs as well. And then anything that was plastic was disinfected. All of the cloth things that we got was actually put through a hot wash cycle and then dried. So we made sure that we were really protecting our chimpanzees because it's really important to us that they stay happy and healthy and safe.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tina. We really appreciate that. So Chelsea, do we have some questions that are coming through that the students might be asking?
So one question that actually Dr. Tina might be great to go over is, why would we need to sanitize these so much? I mean, they're chimps, we're people. Why is that important?
That's a really good question, Chelsea. I guess I take for granted that people know, but chimpanzees are our closest living relatives, which means that we share very close to 99% of our DNA with them. Actually, yeah, very close to 99% of our DNA. So basically, anything that can impact us and our health, it's very likely that it can impact a chimpanzee and their health as well. And vice versa. If the chimpanzees get sick, we have to protect ourselves from getting sick from the chimpanzees. Also, it's been shown that if it's something that chimps are not used to dealing with, so in the wild, for instance, they did a whole study on chimpanzees getting the common cold, and it actually wiped out some of the wild chimp population. It was just a cold. It's just because it was completely new to them and they didn't know how to deal with it. Their bodies didn't know how to function, whereas ours do. So it's just something that we're really careful about. We don't know how it would impact the chimps, but we have every reason to believe that they could probably contract COVID, and we have to protect ourselves as well.
Wonderful. So I see we have a question. Do you teach the chimpanzees how to open up the presents?
Oh, awesome. I see the question popping up right over here. That's great.
That's a really good question. We don't have to. The chimps, so our chimps get so excited. They know what Christmas with the Chimps is. As soon as they see us with presents, enrichments, boxes that are wrapped, they know that it means Santa's going to visit them. So they get so excited, and we don't have to teach them how to open up the presents. They know how to open them up themselves, and they all do it differently. Some of them are more gentle, and they'll carefully open the present. Other chimps, like Bamboo, will literally rip it open with their teeth, and it's a giant mess. So, but we don't teach them. We let them do what they want to do with those presents.
This is a great question, and Tina, I think you'll like this because I know you really like this chimp. But how do the chimps know which one is the alpha chimp?
Oh, that's a really good question. The alpha chimp is really good at letting them know that he's in charge. It really depends on the individual too, because we have 3 different alphas here at Lion Country Safari, and they all have very different personalities. So it's going to depend on the chimpanzee. Higgy's my guy. He's one of my best buds, and he is a very dominant, very strong chimp. He makes sure that they all know that he's in charge. Bamboo is a little bit more laid back, but he's huge, and he can be really scary looking when he wants to be, but we call him Fluffernutter because he's actually pretty relaxed, honestly. But so they kind of decide themselves who's alpha. It's not something that I assign them that role. They naturally evolve into that.
That's really awesome. Thank you, Dr. Tina.
Yeah.
Now, I see this seems to be a common question coming in, but are some of our chimps, are they related to each other? Like some brothers, sisters maybe you have in the troop?
Yes, we definitely do. We have a lot of that here at Lion Country Safari. For instance, Bamboo's group, which you guys would have seen, only has 1 chimp in that group now that doesn't have any relatives in the group. Most of the time, it's a mother-offspring pair. So we have Luna and Orbit, Tonic and Bamboo, and Swing and Dandy. Those are all mother-daughter or mother-son pairs. And then Figment, he unfortunately lost his mother a couple of years ago, many years ago actually. She was really old when we lost her, so he doesn't have any relatives in the group, but they all take really good care of him and make sure that he feels very welcome.
Awesome. Do chimps have favorite colors?
Some of our chimps do. Again, chimps have personalities just like me and you. So while my favorite color might be green,
Another chimp's favorite color might be blue. And yeah, we definitely see, for instance, Higgy loves bright colors. He loves purples and blues and reds and things like that. Little Mama, we definitely noticed that she liked reds and pinks when she was here. So some of them definitely do show preference on that, but others, they don't seem to care as much.
So this is another common question coming in, and I think it's pretty interesting. How do we feed the chimpanzees?
How do we feed the chimpanzees?
That's a really good question. So chimpanzees are awesome, and I love each and every one of them, but they are considered very dangerous animals. So we never want to be in the same space as our chimps. So what we have here at Lion Country Safari, which is really unique, we have 4 different island homes for our chimps and 3 different groups. So that means one island is always open and available. So our keeper staff will go out, they'll clean it, they will spread diet all over the island to try to make them forage for it, is what it's called. And that's something that they would do in the wild. So we try to just simulate those natural behaviors as much as we possibly can. And then we open up a bridge system, and the chimpanzees will cross that bridge to the new island. We close the bridge, and that means that the next island is ready to be prepared for group number 2 to come across. The chimps rotate islands almost every day here. It's really enriching for them, and they really enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we're going to take 2 more questions, Chelsea, and then what we'll do is we'll go to the next video, and we would love to hear everyone else hear some more questions that you might be able to ask Dr. Tina here live. So what's another question that we can answer before we cut to the next video, Chelsea?
I think this one seems pretty interesting, and I kind of want to know it too, Dr. Tina, is how long are the chimps' teeth?
Oh.
How long are their teeth? That's a really good question. I wish I had the picture I could show you guys. Bamboo is really good at showing us his teeth, just because he gets really excited for food. So we have some really great pictures of Bamboo with his mouth just like fully open. And I'd say his canines are probably, how long is this? His canines are about this long.
Couple inches, you would say?
Couple inches long, yeah. And then others, as they age, their teeth tend to wear down, just like yours do and mine do. But Bamboo is 17 years old, so he's kind of in his prime, and so he has some really long canine teeth.
Are they powerful, their jaws?
Very powerful, yes. You can actually see some chimpanzees end up with something that's called a sagittal crest on their skulls, and that's just a way for, it's a bony ridge, like that's almost like a mohawk that gorillas have, but some really big chimpanzees will also have. And it's just additional ways for the muscles to attach to the skull so that they can have a really powerful bite, really powerful jaws.
Thank you. And we'll do one more question, Chelsea, and then we'll cut to the next video.
And Tina, I think this question is going to be great to talk about chimp dynamics, but someone asked, do the chimps get in trouble?
The chimps get in trouble often. They're just like you and me, and we have younger ones, and we have ones that are more cranky, and we have tricksters, and we have playful ones. So Dandy, for instance, tends to get in trouble with her group sometimes because she can be a little demanding. We call her Demandy. Olive is really young, so she tends to kind of be reprimanded at times. Definitely they can get in trouble, and that's the alpha's job generally, is to make sure that they know that they might want to change their behavior a little bit, and from then on they generally know not to do naughty things again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tina. All right, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and show the second half of the video. In the meantime, we would love to have you think of some more wonderful questions here that you can ask us live on Safari.
All right. Welcome back, guys. Here we have Ben's group. Ben's group is really special because it has 2 of our newest chimpanzee residents here at Lion Country Safari in it. And we're really excited about having these boys here. They're so great. That's Ben in the front and Jake on the right. Ben is the alpha and Jake is his best friend and his beta, his second in charge. You'll see that they're showing their teeth quite a bit, and that's because they're a little bit nervous because this is the first time that they have ever seen a Santa. They've never seen Santa Claus before because we're really special and Lion Country gets a visit from Santa every year, but not every zoo does. So they were really excited to see what this big man in red was all about. And, as soon as they realized he was going to bring them presents, Santa's their favorite person ever now. So they calmed down really quickly. but it's really special to see their first Christmas with the Chimps. You can see Ben is going through the big bag, a big box that he got. And now Santa's just throwing their daily diet, their food. You see Jake kind of threw his hand up in the air there. That's Jake's begging behavior. So he's letting Santa know, hey, me over here, please. I'm ready for food. But I think Ben gets the first bag because Ben's in charge, and that's the price that everybody else pays for Ben to protect them and be such a good leader. These boys also have Juniper and Irene with them. You would have seen those girls front and center. They came right down. They weren't at all nervous. They know all about Santa. They came down, they got their enrichments, and then they, like Orbit, they went up top to enjoy them. Ben is also a bit demanding. He's a big, big guy, and he likes to eat a lot. All right, so this is back to Bamboo's group. I think we're going to see Dandy swinging around on the ropes a little bit and showing off just how strong and agile and athletic chimpanzees tend to be. That was Dandy. That's Bamboo in the front enjoying all the bags. Swings climbing down. This is Luna in the front here. Luna's really, really a great girl. She's Orbit's mom. She's a very sweet chimp. And there's Bamboo again. As you'll see, Bamboo and Ben are both really big boys. And they're the alphas of their groups. And part of the reason why they look so big, they are really big. But another reason that they look so big is because they're able to control their hair and make it stand on end. So thank you again so much to everybody who contributed some really great enrichments this year for Christmas with the Chimps.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed this second half of our video here about the Christmas with the Chimps. Again, we are live currently from Lion Country Safari, which is in West Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And we hope that you thought of some awesome questions while we were watching that second half of the video, the chimps opening their presents from Santa. So, Chelsea, do we have any questions that might have come through?
We do. Dr. Tina,
Yes.
how do you brush their teeth?
That's a really good question. So chimpanzees, like I said, can be considered very dangerous. We have really good relationships with them, though. So we do have what we call the chimp house, where we bring the chimps in. They can come in or not, depends on all their choice. But they generally want to come in because they know that they get to train with us when they come inside. And so we just work really carefully and closely with them to allow us to carefully and safely brush their teeth, which means oftentimes it's actually funny because I have one on me right now because I did a training session this morning. This is what we call a clicker. You hear that sound? The chimps all know that that sound means they just did something that was good, and that's what I was looking for. So what we'll do with chimps, for instance, for teeth brushing is I'll generally use a squeezy bottle of juice. They get really excited and they open their mouth up really big to get that juice, and I go, good job, and then they associate the click with opening their mouth. So then eventually they will just open their mouth when we ask, and they let us brush their teeth, and then at the end of it we'll give them a reward. Not a sugary reward though, because that would be defeating the whole purpose.
So it's interesting though, because even like the teeth care, the dental care with chimps is just as important as it would be with humans,
It is,
right?
Yeah. Chimps, their teeth are incredibly important to them, just like our teeth are to us. So, and we're really lucky. Our chimps are really lucky. They have phenomenal veterinary care, and they have a team of really caring, really devoted keepers that work with them. So, our guys get really phenomenal care here at Lion Country Safari.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Tina, how do chimpanzees communicate with each other? This has been a very popular question.
This is a great one. I love this question. So, chimps communicate with each other a lot like humans do. Again, they're really closely related to us. So they rely on gesture a lot. They rely on vocalizations a lot. They have very specific vocalizations for very specific behaviors. And some of our chimps, I don't even understand how they're communicating with each other the way that they are. We have one chimp, Jin, who can make the chimps do whatever she wants by looking at them. I don't understand how she has this control over everybody. But more than that, I'm fascinated by the way and the level that she can communicate with with her group members, and I have no idea how it's happening. But generally, I can tell you, chimps will pant hoot when they're happy. Sometimes they'll pant hoot right before they're going to display. They have food grunts, happy food sounds. Oftentimes, it's like a high-pitched like that. When chimps are saying hi to each other, they'll oftentimes kind of bob and crouch and put their hand out. So there's just all sorts of cues and that's how they can communicate really well with each other. They also groom each other a lot, which is a really social bonding thing that they do with each other.
Awesome. So, Dr. Tina, what is the average weight and lifespan of a chimp?
Average weight and lifespan.
It's a good question. Again, it depends on the individual and also if it's a boy or a girl. Boys don't live as long as the girls tend to. We had one female chimp here, Little Mama. She's considered to be probably the oldest chimp in the world before we lost her. She was probably in her 70s when she passed, but that was really old. On average, chimpanzees in human care will live, if they're a female, until like 40, and if they're a male, about 32. That's the average life expectancy in human care. In the wild, it's less than that because, again, we give our animals such great care. They have veterinary care. We give them all sorts of really fantastic diets. We brush their teeth, all those things. So, for instance, our oldest chimp right now is 52, Swing, and Cooper is 49, and he's a boy. So we have some really old chimps here as well because we take such good care of them.
Awesome. Now, Dr. Tina, are there any different breeds of chimpanzee out there, or maybe subspecies?
That's a great question as well. Yeah, you could consider different breeds of chimpanzee. We call them subspecies. There's 4 different subspecies of chimpanzee. That is the East African. I'll give you the scientific names. You guys ready for this? There's Pan troglodytes schwinfurti, Pan troglodytes troglodytes, Pan troglodytes elioti, and Pan troglodytes virus. And those are the 4 different subspecies of chimpanzees, and they live in 4 distinct regions in Africa. I have a conservation field site. I go out to West Africa almost every year, and those chimps are Pan troglodytes virus, which is very likely what we probably have in human care as well. There's also bonobos, and those guys are a different species of chimpanzee. So if you're thinking about it in terms of, how do we explain this in terms of like dogs? Not a different breed, but a different species, closely related, but different enough to be considered different species.
Awesome. So, Dr. Tina, what are some things that chimpanzees eat, and also how much do they eat a day, I guess?
Yeah, so great question. Chimpanzees love fruits and vegetables. And if you're bamboo, you love lettuce. We also give them what we call browse, which is tree leaves, tree branches. They love banana leaves. We give them acacia. We give them hibiscus. And what they'll do with that is they'll eat it, and they'll weave it into their nests at night. But as far as diet, we also give them just a biscuit. It tastes like either cinnamon or banana. We order both kinds, and the chimps really enjoy those as well. That's really all they need, nutritionally speaking, but they really like those fruits and veggies. So we give them all sorts of fruits and veggies every day as well. They get generally 2 different fruits, 2 different vegetables in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we usually give them maybe 1 fruit and 3 different types of vegetables because it's just healthier for them.
Dr. Tina, is there something that our students would be able to help with conservation?
Yes.
With our chimps?
Actually, right now at Lion Country Safari, we are running a contest. So where chimpanzees live in Africa, it's very mineral rich. They have lots of really great resources out there. So if you have a cell phone or even a gaming system, if it's new, they've probably had to mine for a very specific mineral, which is called coltan. And it's only found in great ape habitat, chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, and lots of other species as well. And so if you recycle those phones and gaming systems and power cords and things like that, they can actually take the coltan out of your old devices and use it for new devices instead of having to get it from where the chimpanzees, gorillas, and other species are living. So that's a really easy, really great way to help chimpanzee conservation in the wild, is just recycle your electronics.
Awesome, thank you. So Chelsea, we're going to take a couple more questions.
Yeah, so I see we have one here. Do chimpanzees walk on 2 legs or 4?
So chimpanzees are considered to be quadrupeds, which means they walk on all 4 limbs. They actually are knuckle walkers, so they don't walk flat on their hands like maybe a dog would. They walk on their knuckle tips, like that. And they actually have locking mechanisms in their wrists so that they don't overextend it, whereas it would probably be pretty hard for humans to do that, right? Having said that, they can walk on 2 feet. It's just not very comfortable for them. But oftentimes you'll see here at Lion Country, for instance, Bamboo and Orbit, they like to take so much food and then take it up to a shelter and like be comfortable while they're eating. And so they'll pick up so much food that then they have to walk on 2 feet to hold it all. So we do see them walking bipedally, just on 2 feet pretty often here as well.
I see that one question actually popped up, and basically they're asking if they had the ability to kill or hurt each other.
Yes, chimpanzees in the wild in particular have been known, actually really fascinating. There's a documented case, you guys probably have heard of Jane Goodall, Dr. Jane Goodall. She's phenomenal. She's the first person to ever study chimpanzees in the wild. And she actually saw her big chimpanzee group turn into 2 separate chimpanzee groups, and then the bigger chimpanzee group basically warred against the other group. And in the end, the smaller group was completely wiped out. So yeah, in the wild, they definitely can hurt and even kill each other. And in human care, we just are really careful to manage them in such a way that we don't generally see those sorts of things. They can be they can fight with each other. But especially here at Lion Country Safari, it's usually a lot of yelling and chasing, like siblings. But
so, quick question. So that goes into so they wouldn't make a good pet, and do we interact with them?
Yeah. No, chimpanzees, like I said, like Bamboo's teeth are like this long, and Bamboo weighs, I think, 180 pounds, and he's pure muscle. So you really don't want a chimpanzee for a pet. You don't want any sort of primate for a pet. Primates don't make good pets. They're very social animals, but they belong with other primates. They belong with their species. We really love them here at Lion Country. We really respect them, but I would never want a chimpanzee as a pet. It's such a bad idea. And it's not fair to the chimpanzees either, because inevitably you won't be able to take care of them, and then they end up coming to a zoo or a sanctuary where oftentimes they don't know how to be chimps anymore. They were raised like people, and now they have to be a chimpanzee, and it's really confusing for them, and it's just really sad. So that's another way you can help save chimpanzees, is make sure people know they do not make good pets.
So I see we have a question. How do chimpanzees react to strangers? Maybe a new keeper, or maybe out in the wild if there's a new chimp in the area? How do they react to that?
Well, in the wild, females do tend to leave the group that they were born in, and they go to a different group. And oftentimes they go through a period of kind of being picked on. As far as here at Lion Country, when we have a new keeper, for instance, it depends on the chimp. Some of them are just like, hey, how's it going? You got food? And others will definitely test our new staff members. Irene in particular likes to bluff them pretty often. And we always have to warn them that that's probably going to happen when she first gets to know somebody. But like I said, we work really hard on having really good relationships with our guys. So in general, they're really good with us.
All right, we're going to take 2 more questions.
This one's been popping up a lot. Do they have any predators? And I know we touched a little bit on conservation.
Yeah, so chimps do have natural predators. One is leopards when they're young. When a leopard's not really going to want to take on an adult chimpanzee as necessarily, especially since they tend to hang out together, and they'll fight with each other to ward off a predator like a leopard. But the other predator that they have, and the biggest predator, is humans. Humans are hunting chimpanzees across Africa for various reasons. One of the main reasons, so like I said, I do conservation work out in West Africa, and they run into something that we deal with. It's called crop raiding, where the chimps are losing a lot of their homes. They don't have as much forest, so that means they don't have as much food. And so they'll go into human agricultural fields and they'll take that food because they have to survive. But the people get really angry because they've worked really hard on cultivating those crops. And so it's just, an area of real conflict between humans and chimpanzees, and unfortunately, the chimps tend to lose those conflicts. So it's something that here at Lion Country Safari, we work really hard to educate. And like I said, Lion Country's been a real great supporter of my conservation field site and helping to mitigate those conflicts with humans.
All right, we're going to take one more question.
So, Dr. Tina, is there anywhere else in the world that chimpanzees can be found?
Like out of Lion Country Safari?
Yes,
Yeah, there are all sorts of AZA accredited zoos in North America. I believe there are about 32 institutions in North America that house chimpanzees and that are AZA accredited. So AZA accredited means we are Association of Zoos and Aquariums accredited, which means that we undergo a really rigorous, really thorough process where a bunch of experts come in and they review everything. They look at everything we do here, from our finances to our animal care to our hospital and all sorts of things. And at the end of that, if they think that we're good enough, they will accredit us. And so it's really important, if you want to make sure that you are supporting really good zoos, just check to see if they're AZA accredited. Some zoos can be good zoos that aren't, but if it's accredited, it's a really great, quick, easy, this zoo is definitely a good place for their animals. So there's 32 of those, I think, across the U.S. I'm actually the new SSP coordinator, so I'm in charge of kind of checking in on all of those chimps that live all across the U.S. And then, of course, chimps in the wild live in Africa. They live kind of all across equatorial Africa, so that middle belt kind of.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We also would like to give a huge thank you and a shout out to all the students that helped participate and make these fantastic enrichments this year. We were thoroughly impressed. And as you saw, our chimps really absolutely enjoyed all of the enrichments. Again, thank you all so much. We look forward to doing this another year with you coming up. And again, we want to wish everybody happy holidays and thank you for joining us here live at Lion Country Safari in West Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.